So I noticed some people say some things about the sin of empathy the other day, and as you know, I took a course on the Bible as literature last semester, which caused me to read the entire Bible, and then I've read it a second time, and I am currently actually going through a third reading of the Bible, and throughout that I see nothing about empathy being a sin. I see things like jealousy, greed, lust, those things being a sin, and I see empathy basically being a virtue. And when we look at the New Testament, which is the Christian scriptures, other than the Old Testament, like the scriptures of Jesus and everything like that, Jesus is an extremely empathetic man. He goes around healing the sick, helping the poor. He sees that there are people being taken advantage of by the money changers, and he flips out the table. Obviously, also, people are not following the law. If you remember, there is one verse in the Bible where Jesus says, "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law and the prophets, but to fulfill them." And that's one of the parts of him fulfilling the law, which I think is super cool for that to be a thing that he's doing. But there is an extreme amount of empathy from Jesus in the Bible. And when you look at the teachings of Jesus, the Sermon on the Mount, the loaves and fishes, all of that is empathy. I also saw somebody say that the most Christian thing that you can do is to teach a man to fish, because teach a man to fish, give a man a fish nonsense. That is not biblical at all. In fact, it's anti-biblical. Jesus made sure there was enough fish and bread for everyone and ensured that everybody had enough to eat, and then they split what was left. He fed 5,000, I believe it was. Now, yeah, I've seen some people say that he stole this from some other book. The Christians stole it from some other book. I think Holy Kool-Aid or Viced Rhino said something about it being from the Odyssey. I don't care about that. I care about specifically the Christian interpretation here, which would be Jesus did a thing and you're called to be Christ-like. Do what Jesus did, not the opposite of what Jesus did. Which is, don't take away people's fish. And if you're taking away people's food, you're not empathetic. You're committing a sin. You're harming people. You're harming others. Jesus, Buddha, all of them, the golden rule, do unto others as you would have done unto you. Which is one of those things that's very important to a functioning society. One thing people don't really understand about the entire Bible is that, yes, it's a mythology, it's a history, it's a spiritual book, it's scripture. But it's also got stuff in there about why a society is the way it is, or why you need to do certain things in society. For example, the Tower of Babel. That's why language exists. Another example, after Noah, after the flood, God essentially gives Noah a guide to accounting for things for farming. That's not really a spiritual thing. That's a how to run your society thing, which is super important. That's in Genesis 9, after the flood and before the covenant. Before the covenant of the rainbow, which is a very important covenant, of course. It's the first covenant that God makes, to never destroy the world with a flood again. And we also see that anger and wrath are sins. And we've seen a lot of anger and wrath from people over the last few months to years. And those are very unfortunate. But at no point is empathy a sin.